Welcome back everyone to this channel. If you're new here, welcome to the video series where I talked about amazing yet unknown directors. Why do I do this? Firstly, it's because the first video is my best performing video so far. Secondly, it's because filmmakers rarely make great films. And even if they made them consistently, most of them still didn't get the recognition they should have.
I have discovered more information than any hacker ever has.
Sure, we have Ingmar Bergman, Terrence Malick, and Hayao Miyazaki, but other great directors also deserve more recognition. That's why in this video, I'll be discussing them, their films, filmmaking style, and why they are truly great. Before we start, I want to give my honorable mention. See, along my research for this video, I found many great directors that obviously everybody knows, and great directors that are perfectly lesser known, which is a perfect fit for this video, but I also found some other great directors in between them. Directors that don't fit with the two categories before. They are either too unknown to fit these filmmakers, but also too famous to be with these directors. So to appease myself, and also so I can find a way to still talk about them, I decided to create a new segment in this video series. And my honorable mention for this video is... Sergei Parajanov was a Soviet director who was born in Georgia of Armenian descent. He was primarily active from the 50s to the 80s, making amazing films using his distinct style. Focused on the visual, he likes to make the main focus of the scene in the center of the shot, and use the sets and decor to give them beautiful details, making his film's cinematography the main draw, much like other films directed by Georgian filmmakers that I've watched. His films are genuinely gorgeous, straight up the main appeal of his films. But not only that, he is also smart about it. While some other filmmakers that are too focused on the visuals will have a beautiful film, but with nothing to say, Sergei Parajanov uses the visuals to his advantage, making it not only as a simple tool for engagement with the audience, but also a tool to enhance the story of the films. As so, his films are less talkative and more visually descriptive, cutting back unnecessary dialogues and adding layers of storytelling to his visuals. That is the case in the first film that I'd be recommending in this video, Sergei Parajanov's 1969 magnum opus, The Color of Pomegranates. In this film, everything takes the backseat except the visuals. Minimal dialogue, even minimal visuals, just characters moving ever so slightly, mimicking live paintings. Yet everything being shown in the film tells us such an amazing story about love, pride, and perseverance. This film is literally a visual poem. Oh yeah, the reason why I put Sergei Parajanov in the honorable mention is because of this film. The recent revival of interest in this film makes me happy. Not only that more people get to watch this great film, but also accept and appreciate its unique storytelling. But since a lot of people have watched this film, I have to put Sergei Parajanov in the honorable mention. But if you find the previous description of the film The Color of Pomegranate too avant-garde, the next film that I'll be recommending is his 1985 film The Legend of Suram Fortress. Most websites online would recommend his other film, Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors, but I want to be different and recommend something else. This film is less experimental than the previous film and has more dialogue, but the focus on the visual is still there, as well as the great score and editing. Now that the honorable mentions are finished, let's get to the real list. The first director on this list is Juraj Herz. Juraj Herz was a Slovakian filmmaker born in 1934. His films are closely tied to the Czechoslovak New Wave, a prominent film movement that started in the 60s Czechoslovakian. Other prominent filmmakers that are related to this movement are Milos Forman, director of the famed Amadeus, and
Věra Chytilová,
director of Daisies. Like many films from the Czechoslovak New Wave, Juraj Herz's films are visually wild and often surreal, with an unconventional flow of storytelling. He uses this not only as a way to be different, but within them are also the character's expression of emotions and thoughts. Like how he uses fisheye lens to distort the characters' faces to show their real inner thoughts, and how he uses point of view angles to synchronize the audience mind with the character's mind. But detaching this aspect, his films also tell compelling stories. They often explore the dark side of being a human, discussing their vices within and how the characters fight against them. But not all of them try to fight it, not like the main character from the first film that I'll be recommending. Juraj Herz's 1969 film The Cremator is often listed online as one of the best films coming from the Czechoslovak New Wave. But for me, simply, it is one of the best films, period. The film is unlike any other film I've ever watched. Disgusting, comforting, repulsive, contemplative, honest, awful, dark, and funny. Genuinely beyond amazing. Everything about this film is astonishing. The acting is incredible, it looks absolutely beautiful. The dark and white color helps to push the sense of dread that the story already puts out. The score is truly impressive. I'll even go as far to say that this film is the best film from the whole film that I'll be recommending in this video. But if you feel intimidated by my explanation of the film, the other film that I'll recommend for you is his 1978 adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. Unlike almost all adaptations of this famous fairy tale, Juraj Herz does something different to the story, approaching the story more as a gothic tale, lending the film's landscape a darker interpretation. And the story also follows that interpretation, making the film not only as a simple lesson of acceptance, but a complex and layered journey through trauma. I can't say more about this film because my next video essay will actually be about this film, so stay tuned. The essential part of Juraj Herz is still there. The typical amazing cinematography is still there. The costumes and sets actually shine more here, as does the sound design. The second amazing filmmaker that you probably don't know is Charles Burnett. Called America's least known great filmmaker and most gifted black director by the New York Times, his films also reflect that description. Great films that explore the life of the least known people. While Hollywood tends to focus on amazing adventure and highly unlikely situations, down by the South, Charles Burnett captures the reality of working class people's lives. In a more official term, his style is called American Neorealism, which is like Italian Neorealism, but American. Coined by filmmaker and critic Tom Anderson, the term describes films that focus on everyday life, often highlighting the struggles of the working class, marginalized communities, and pressing social issues. Inspired by the Italian Neorealism of the 1940s and 50s, this movement shares some stylistic and thematic elements, such as the use of non-professional actors, on-location shooting, and a focus on realism and authenticity. This is what Charles Burnett's films like. He focuses on the life of working-class people, more specifically, black working-class Americans in the South Central Los Angeles. He captures their personal lives, the struggles and temptations they alluded to and confronted. Using non-professional actors, people who lived the lives he captured, and real background as the sets. And he did a fine job, managing to be truthful from the start to the end. His films are engaging and always cut deep to the heart. The first film from him that I'll recommend is Killer of Sheep. Filmed in the same place where he grew up, Killer of Sheep chronicles the everyday life of a black kid growing up in a working-class family and a working-class neighborhood. His approach is simple, the stories he took are painfully honest, and the result is striking. In just around 80 minutes, the film managed to pack a powerful punch of reality, and it will knock the audience down hard. The second film I'll recommend is My Brother's Wedding. In my opinion, this film is the spiritual sequel to Killer of Sheep. While the first film explores reality from the eyes of a child, this film is the grown-up version of that film, peeking into reality through the situations of adulthood. It's probably why this film is my favorite from him. Everything that appears in Killer of Sheep is not only there, but also heightened even more, partly thanks to the great acting that the non-professional actor did. The third filmmaker on this list is Wang Bing. He is a documentary filmmaker who's active from the 2000s till now. His films are often long and full of repetitive footage, but that's because of his filmmaking style. In his films, he likes to tell the reality of Chinese society. He shows the everyday life of those people, waking up, going to work, spending time on work, going home, being with family. By using repetitiveness and long runtime, he wants to get the audience in the same rhythm as the people in his films. He doesn't use fancy angles or complex editing, he just presents the reality of life in China straightforwardly. Through the repetition of the shots and the mundane everyday life activities, the audience will slowly fall into the same reality that the characters face every day. Their ups and downs, their thoughts and worries, all presented clearly in the front of camera. Aside from the struggle he captured, his films also explore modern Chinese family dynamics under those societal and economic conditions. Wang Bing likes to follow the families of their subject, not just to interview them to know what's inside their mind, but he also wants the truth. He wants to see their progress, and how the family evolved or adapted around these issues, which also adds more layers to his films. The first film I recommend from him is Till Madness Do Us Part. This 2013 film explores the everyday activity of one of the floors of a mental institution that houses male patients. The runtime of the film is long, 228 minutes to be exact, but it doesn't feel like that at all. The film uses the time in a great way, spending it by following people. Not much, but enough to see the nuances of being a mental patient, how each individual copes with being in there. But for me, the best thing about the film is how it explores love. To quote Slant magazine,
"It's hard to think of a more quietly radical proposition than the one Wang is making here. There's compassion to be found in even the harshest of circumstances. It's all about knowing where to look."
the film explores the fundamentals of love, how it can show up even in a place where you don't think it will, how the mental patients seek and accept love. The second film that I will recommend is his most famous film, the one who put Wang Bing on the map. Tie West of the Tracks is one of his longest films, running around 555 minutes, but it's genuinely an epic film. I never even called a documentary film epic before. In 3 parts, the film captures the slow death of sound factories in Tie. Each part becomes more focused as he explores the death and the after effects of the death of the factories on the workers, their families, and other people who benefited from the factories. This film is the true definition of slow cinema, giving a slow but steady wave of emotions, using scenes that I will call one of the best scenes that cinema has ever seen.
我跟你讲，就是说，就是一般就在，就是人生这一辈子，我跟你说啊，我跟你讲。
The last director on this list is one who I think is the least known of all the other directors in this video, and she is Kinuyo Tanaka. While she is well known as an actor, working with famous directors like Yasujiro Ozu, Akira Kurosawa, and most famously, Kenji Mizoguchi. In the 1950s and 60s, she started making great films that focus on the struggles of women in Japanese society, examining their emotional and societal challenges, showing her characters' turmoil with their sexuality, their rights, and their identities in a society that often marginalized them. Kinuyo Tanaka's films explore these themes with profound sensitivity, bringing to light the harsh realities faced by women. But she also emphasized their strength, their capacity for love, and their struggle for autonomy. But not just great stories, she also laced them with technical proficiency. Her films feel modern and professional. They are always well shot, well blocked, and structured visually well. The first film I recommend from Kinuyo Tanaka is Girls of the Night, released in 1961. The film follows the lives of former prostitutes trying to reintegrate into society after Japan's anti-prostitution law came into effect. The film's strongest attribute is its themes. It meditates on the universal themes of the basic core of humanity. Are people inherently evil? Do redemption still exist in this world? How does forgiveness work? These questions are in the minds of the ex-prostitutes on their quest to reintegrate into society. Packed with the smart sensibility of shot composition, especially the wide shots, this film is definitely ahead of its time. The second film that I will recommend is The Eternal Breast, which is also titled Forever a Woman. Released in 1955, this film is perhaps Kinuyo Tanaka's most renowned work. The film explores life of poet Fumiko Nakajo, focusing on her battle with breast cancer and her journey as an artist. It is a profound exploration of life, death, and creativity. Kinuyo Tanaka successfully captures the slow but powerful emotional waves as Fumiko confronts her mortality and strives to leave a lasting artistic legacy. As said before, not only her themes are strong, but the technical side of it also stands out. Particularly in this film, the camera work. Some powerful scenes from this film are strengthened by the way the scene is visualized, like these scenes.
That's all, folks.
So that's it. That's the list. I want everyone to know that this list is only a brief introduction for people to these amazing filmmakers. If you want to learn more about them, watch their film, research them online, and learn more about them. If you want more videos like this, like and subscribe to see more videos.